sexy Dexter fans. My name is Emily Sophia, in case you didn't know, and welcome to my weekly Dexter vlogs, in which I basically break down all my emotions, thoughts, feelings, and reflections on what is happening in season 7. So tonight I'm going to be breaking down the premiere episode entitled, "Are You ... And that question is actually answered at the very end of the episode, which, if you haven't seen it, Showtime uploaded the entire premiere episode, 720p, awesome quality, whole thing, on their YouTube channel. So there's a link in the description to that if you missed the annotation. Totally an awesome surprise. I don't imagine they're going to be doing that every week, and you might have to kind of, if you don't have Showtime, you might end up sort of voyaging into the exciting world of the internet to see what you can find that's not going to like accidentally download porn on your computer. But yes, please check that out. My vlogs do contain spoilers, shamelessly so. So if you haven't watched, find a way to. I'll include links in the descriptions of my weekly videos that will contain links by which you can access the episodes, because I'm a penniless college student, do not have Showtime. So just thought I would let you guys know that. Oh my word. Just everything. Where do we begin? Okay, so very beginning, I was quite surprised with how they actually started off the episode. Because for those of you who saw the 2-minute sneak peek that was shown at Comic-Con and everything, you know, it picked up right where the scene had left off at the end of season 6. But at the very beginning of this episode, they actually chose to place it somewhere totally different, and then leap back to that scene at the church where Deborah has just walked in on her brother at a very awkward moment. So we see Dexter, he's zooming down the highway, like making a getaway, heading to the airport. And so I think that that was a pretty clever way to go, because it kind of teases at, you know, everybody's fears that Dexter is just gonna up and peace, you know, he's just gonna flat out run, skip town. And then, yeah, things jump back to the church, and that was such a beautiful, just heart-wrenching scene. Like, honestly, I teared up, and at one point in particular during that scene, it was when Deborah asked him if he was okay, if he was hurt, you know, just in that broken, as only Deb can, just that broken, like, are you hurt? Are you okay? And she just has so much just empathy just flowing through her, even in the midst of her shock, that, you know, she just delivers such a powerful performance. Like, Jennifer Carpenter had described the scene as a sort of seduction scene, and there really are those elements. There's a lot of like drawing in and pulling back, you know, because Dexter starts off and he's really just very apologetic. He's appears very fragile and just please, and he's pleading with her and working with her, and then as the scene progresses, he gets a little bit more dominant, and he comes up with the idea of what they should do. And I was amazed how quickly Deb followed suit. Like, you know, as he was talking about his idea of making it look like a suicide, and she was just kind of like, wow, the last tableau. And she was just, all of a sudden, she was tracking with him immediately. Just in the midst of her shock, she almost knew nothing else but to protect and defend him. And yet, she totally doesn't lose credibility with the audience in that process. It was just so well done. And then, you know, all of a sudden she's out at the gas station, you know, getting some gas so they can set the place on fire. Just so surreal seeing that entire scene unfold. And like I said, after that, the episode moves very quickly. And there's a common theme that is interwoven into everything, and that is the theme of control. Dexter, basically, in this instance of Deborah discovering what he's done, he has lost control. But he thinks that he can still regain it. He thinks that everything can be pushed under the carpet. And that's kind of evidenced in how he goes after his very first kill. which is the man from the Ukrainian mob who killed Mike Anderson. And that unfolded so fast. It was almost impossible to really have emotion in that instance, because I know that a lot of us had already figured out that he was going to get killed off. And so, yeah, so that was just a rush. So basically, you know, he stops along the side of the road to help out this guy, pops the trunk. Oops, there's a dead hooker. And then just immediately things go how they do. You know, Dexter picks up on the guy when they're at the crime scene, and he proceeds to go after him in a very interesting way. It was a very unique first kill. Honestly, I was really fascinated with Dexter's approach and how he was able to get through. For one thing, he's tracking the guy at the airport, and he gets through security by saying, "No, it's like, oh, I got diabetes," you know, when all of his like needles are pulled out, and the guy's like, "Oh, it's cool." Yeah, Dexter's got to get his blood sugar up. And thought it was very, very clever how he got the wheelchair and popped the guy right into it, so he could, you know, after he knocked the guy out, he could just walk around with him in the airport, and he's just like, oh, he's just snoozing. And then when the guy comes to, Dexter's like wheeling himself around in the wheelchair. Like, I laughed at that point. I mean, I was looking for somewhere where I could laugh because it's just so much tension. And he had a very clever way of going about situating the scene. You know, he pulls the plastic bag over the guy's head and then just bashes it in so blood doesn't get everywhere. Good thinking. You should have considered some more of those techniques when you were dealing with Travis. But and he talks to the guy about how, you know, there's nothing you can do to get out of this. I've lost control and I need it back. And, you know, you'd think that Dexter would stray away from the kills after what Deborah has seen into, but I don't think that he realizes just how far into it she's going and how fast. Like, I had no idea that it was really, she was going to discover almost everything, every piece in this first episode. When they're at the crime scene where Mike Anderson was shot, and Deborah gets back into her car, and she's thinking on how Travis was wrapped up on the altar, and how she was wrapped up on Brian Rudy's kill table, and she's fixated on the fact that Dexter was there, and that everything just aligns perfectly. So she gets the Ice Truck Killer case files, just looking into those, and just she is so incredibly smart that, like, you know, her and Dexter have just been going like this, you know, just moving directly parallel to each other this entire show. And so, you know, now that she has this one glimpse, this one cracked window into this totally unexplored world, like, she is going to map that shit. You know, she is going to get that territory unlocked. She has to know. She can't help but know. And it's almost as though she needs a fresh outlet for her emotions, since she was gonna go to the church for completely different reasons, and now she's got all these emotions that she can't do anything with, just in the midst of her stress and confusion. And it's interesting because Dexter actually does ask her, like, why were you going into the church anyway? And again, she does the whole, I was just going to make sure you were okay. And so there's just, oh my gosh, just, I don't even know. And then there's freaking Lewis. Lewis is such a dickweed. Like, oh my gosh. We first find him, and he's just, you know, snoop-de-whooping through Dexter's apartment, canceling his credit cards. Like, what is going on? And Lewis is trying to plant these seeds in Jamie Batista's mind that, oh, Dexter's such a this and such a that, and she's still very much innocent to a plot that is starting to unfold with him. And I really hope that Lewis is going to stick around for a while. I think that there are so many crazy interesting directions that they could go with him. And so I'm hoping he sticks around longer than I feel like he's going to. So we did get to glimpse Ray Stevenson's character. Isaac, you know, he's all professional, making sure that everything with his organized crime business is going okay. Little does he know that one of his associates has been taken out in a very curious manner. We haven't seen Hannah McKay yet, but she's going to be entering the scene very soon here. And also the flashbacks of Dexter and Deborah's childhood, those were really interesting. And basically it was looking at how, you know, Deborah brings home a little puppy, so cute, so exciting and awesome. And Dexter, in his urge to kill, whisks the puppy away, and, you know, they try and tell Deborah that they just had to get rid of it because she wasn't supposed to have it. And it's very interesting to see how Dexter comes and tries to comfort her later. Like, she has a little stuffed puppy, and he's like, oh, what's its name? And Harry is trying to remind Dexter of how cautious he needs to be. And he actually tells Dexter that one day Deborah is the only person he's going to have. And Dexter's just like, oh, Deb loves me. To what extent? Like, and he emphasizes that he needs to protect that love, that when you have this dark passenger with you, the person you love being aware of it, it creates that distance that can completely destroy everything. And that is the incredible tension of this season. There's so many other things that I could talk about. The episode just moved so incredibly fast. And then, of course, the final moment when Dexter is still trying to pride himself in his ability to keep his secrets, and then he walks in on this scene of just complete devastation. His entire apartment is overturned. You know, he keeps his apartment neat and tidy, he keeps everything neat and tidy, and it's just so symbolic how it's completely wrecked in all of his kill tools, his blood slides, everything is literally on the table. In the final question that we are left with, she just looks at him and says, "Are you a serial killer?" And he just owns it right then and there. And that is the cliffhanger that we are left with. And I'm like, okay, so that is what this whole "are you" thing is truly about. So this was a wildly long review. There was just so much to discuss, but if you made it to the end of this, what did you guys think? Were you guys, was it everything that you wanted and more? Did it rise to your expectations? Did it fall short from them? Leave me comments because I am an avid comment responder. I would love to chat with you guys and just to share ideas about what's going to be coming next. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for my Dexter Daily Stories, and I will be putting up lots more stuff soon. I will also be doing music on this channel, so keep your ears open for that. Personally, I love this episode. It touched on so many things and just moved very fast but in a necessary way, and so I'm truly satisfied with everything. I got all decked out today. Got my I Heart Dexter shirt. I am wearing my red skinnies, red earrings, red toenails. I just, go hard or go home. That's all I gotta say. So I'll be back with some more thoughts by next week, if not sooner. So thank you for watching this ridiculously long vlog, and I love you guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Mwah. Many kisses. This is a weird. that was weird. We'll forget about that one. Sunday, Bloody Sunday, #1.